I just recently did a video on underrated vampire films, so I thought I would keep to the theme of monsters and today do a video on underrated werewolf films. I have 6 recommendations in this video today, and some of them are honestly such good films. They are mainly ones that I've watched in the last few years. So starting things off with a horror comedy, and that is The Wolf of Snow Hollow. In a small snowy mountain town, bodies start showing up after each full moon. Police are struggling to figure this one out. If you watch any film on this list, then please let it be The Wolf of Snow Hollow. I thought it was just going to be like a standard cheesy werewolf film, and it was that, but it was also so much more than that. It was such a pleasant surprise watching this for the first time. It's definitely a film that I could see myself watching over and over again. It was definitely kind of a comfort watch for me. It's really well made and really well structured as well. The comedy isn't over the top, but it definitely is there. I'm not sure why, but it does kind of give me the same vibe as Cocaine Bear, which I absolutely love, but it's nowhere near as over the top as that film. It just kind of, I don't really know what it is. If you've seen both of the films, then let me know if you also feel the same way. Maybe it is just the comedy element, because this film also reminds me of one other film, and that's because we also have an element of mystery, so it kind of reminds me of Scream. It is just like a small town slasher film, but then with the element of a werewolf added in. The director, Jim Cummings, also plays one of the main characters, which is kind of iconic because I feel like if I directed a film, then I would also want to star in it, although I don't think I would be the best actor. The ending to this film is what fully sold it to me. Definitely stick around to the end. It is so worth it. I was already really enjoying the film, but when it got to the end, my mouth was open. I was completely shocked. It has such a good ending. It has such a good twist. You can rent or buy The Wolf of Snow Hollow on Prime Video. The next film I'm going to talk about is Cursed. A brother and sister get attacked by a beast, and this changes their lives forever. The only way for them to avoid also becoming a beast is to find the one that attacked them and kill it once and for all. This is actually a Wes Craven film, and I really think it's an underrated film of his, because especially when talking about Wes Craven films, we usually talk about Scream or A Nightmare on Elm Street, and I never really see people talk about this film. This film also follows the formula of like a small town and a group of teens being targeted by a werewolf, so it does have that kind of slasher element feeling to it as well, like I said with the last choice. I'm actually really shocked by how low the ratings are on Rotten Tomatoes. Didn't realise that a lot of people didn't like this film. Cursed came out in 2005, and I do love 2000s horror, so maybe that is why I like it more than others. Some of the effects may not have aged the best. The transformation scene isn't that great. Of course, we have some incredible transformation scenes in films like An American Werewolf in London and The Howling. This isn't one of them with that amazing practical effect element. Unfortunately, you kind of just have to look past it if you're looking for a fun film, especially from the 2000s when CGI was used quite a lot. Also, just mentioning those 2 films, they obviously would be in this list, but I'm trying to do ones that are more underrated. You can rent or buy Cursed on Prime Video. My next recommendation is Late Phases. A blind, retired war veteran moves to a new home in a retirement community with his dog for a quiet life. On the day of the move, he notices some strange scratch marks, quickly finds out that the community is having problems with some animal attacks. When the night comes, the man and his dog get attacked by the wild animal. He suspects it to be a werewolf and makes his mission to figure out what's happening and who is behind this. This was another really pleasant surprise. Like the first film, this one is definitely one of my favourites in this list. Another one that I definitely urge people to watch. This film is very heavy on setting the story and character building. Although it is a horror film, it's also a family drama / character study. It is incredibly engaging, although a little bit slower in the middle. I personally actually did enjoy the slower parts of this film just as much as the parts with action. We do get some action at the beginning of the film as well as some other moments. There is also a bit of gore and some good effects. As far as underrated werewolf films go, this is definitely one of my favourites. I know I said that with these first film, but this is also another one which I would definitely urge people to watch. This one is a lot more serious than the first two. One thing that did take me out of this film was the audio. I'm not sure if it was just me or my device, but I did spend half the film trying to figure out if it was dubbed over or not. You can stream Late Phases on Prime Video. My next recommendation is Werewolf by Night. In this straight-to-TV film, we follow a group of 5 monster hunters that are summoned to Bloodstone Manor for a special meeting where they get to compete for a powerful relic. Whoever gets this relic will become their new leader. During this competition, they must go up against a dangerous monster. This film actually originally came out in black and white. There is a colour version now, so you can kind of choose the vibe that you're feeling. I personally really enjoyed watching it in black and white, although I didn't actually have the option to choose because the colour version wasn't out when I watched it. I do think the black and white does give it more of a timepiece feeling and also makes it kind of feel more comic-y. This is a really short film. It's actually less than an hour. It's a Marvel film. I'm pretty sure it's one of their Halloween specials. So of course, being a Marvel production, it does have that superhero aspect. It is a very action-packed fantasy horror. The humour keeps it light-hearted and fun, and the fast-paced story keeps you very engaged, especially with the exciting fight scenes and spooky monster visuals. This is the kind of film that is really perfect to watch in October around Halloween. You can watch Werewolf by Night on Hulu. My next recommendation is a sequel, and that is Ginger Snaps 2 Unleashed. Following on from the events of the first film, we follow Ginger's sister, Bridget, as she's put into a rehab clinic following an overdose. We do actually get to see Ginger a few times in this film as well, so it's really fun to see both of the characters again. Like in my vampire video, I also wanted this video to include an underrated sequel because of course Ginger Snaps is more of a well-known werewolf film. I do prefer the first one quite a bit more, but it does have a completely different formula and storyline to this one, so it is hard to compare them. I found this one to be a bit more of a slow burn, but like the first film, this is also a coming-of-age film on a teenage girl. The setting makes this one really interesting and unique, being set in the rehab clinic, so we get lots of new characters and relationship dynamics with all the different patients. This one is a lot sadder than the first film. It's not as fun and as funny. It does still have its moments, but it is kind of a bit darker. You can stream this film on Prime Video. My next recommendation is a film called Teddy. Teddy is a teenage boy living in a rural French town, dealing with the usual teenage boy stuff like girls, work and school. He gets scratched by an unknown beast. He finds that his body starts to change and some unwanted compulsions start to overcome him as he struggles to suppress them. This is very much a coming of age drama horror as we focus a lot on the changes in Teddy's life in more ways than one. I really did just enjoy watching Teddy navigate his life as he's finding himself and gaining new life experiences. Some parts of this film are quite slow, but I did find it to be really enjoyable and engaging throughout. It feels quite modern and fresh just with the language, how Teddy's life is, and especially how relatable things are for him. The horror elements definitely come in very strong towards the end of the film. It's a very slow transformation of events that lead up to a bigger ending. I was quite shocked at the end, especially the last scene, because it kind of goes 0 to 100, which definitely stood out in a film like this because it has kind of a steady pace throughout, so to go really quite fast at the end was quite a surprise, but it was a nice surprise. I really did like that the transformation was kind of over a longer period of time. It reminded me of films like David Cronenberg's The Fly. I definitely can see a lot of similarities between those two transformations, and also especially because they both have the sad element to them as well. This film is an absolute roller coaster of emotions, and I was completely glued to the screen, feeling everything alongside the characters. The casting was perfect. I just wish I knew of this film sooner. Teddy is currently streaming on Shudder. The last film I'm going to recommend in this video today is a film called The Cursed. A brutal land baron slaughters a clan who try claiming his land, leaving a curse upon his village. The characters in this film are mostly quite unlikable, which means you don't really mind when things happen to them, but it also means it's harder to keep your interest when you really don't care about the people that you're watching. Saying that, I did enjoy this film. It's not my favourite, but if you like timepiece horror, then you'll probably enjoy this one. I loved the gothic look and feel to this film. The set and costume design is so beautiful. It really transports you to another another time. This is set in the late 19th century. It is a timepiece done really well. Honestly, so stunning to look at. It has a really gloomy, gritty and uneasy feeling right from the start. It's not shy on gore and body horror, although some of the effects aren't the best, so that did take me out of the film a little bit. I would say also at times I did kind of find that it dragged. I'm not a massive fan of timepiece horror films anyway. I do like some of them, but I can't sit there and watch loads of them because to me it just doesn't keep me that engaged. I feel like this is the kind of film that I definitely would have preferred to watch at the cinema, because then I would have to give it my full attention and probably appreciate it a little bit more. One of my favourite things is though how it's shot. There are some really beautiful and really creepy imagery, some really uneasy shots that it just lingers on. You can rent or buy this film on Prime Video, Apple TV and Google Play Movies. That's it for my recommendations today. If you do watch anything from this list, then please let it be The Wolf of Snow Hollow. A lot of the films that I've spoken about today have a lot of other elements rather than just being focused solely on werewolves, apart from maybe Cursed, where that is kind of just a typical slasher werewolf film. The other ones do have a lot more to them. When making this video, I did find some new absolute favourites, some comfort watches and some films that I will recommend over and over again. Another two to bump up your watch list is Teddy and Late Phases. They are both kind of more on the drama side, but do have some really good horror elements and do have some kind of body horror elements as well. As I always say with these videos, let me know if you have any other underrated choices that you would also put into this list, because I would love more to watch. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you again in another one soon.